Question on a First Amendment to the agreement with Rex something?
Rex Colorado Corporation.
Rex Colorado Corporation to discuss a modification to the original easement agreement.
Okay. All motion for approval with that modification.
I'll second.
All right, have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on. All right, so we'll go ahead and stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We don't have any public, okay.
Why didn't Katie this time?
Whoa.
She's on vacation.
Consent agenda. So do we need to read that one, John?
You don't have to read them all.
Okay, do we have,
Carter, can you scroll up, please? Thanks.
has everybody had a chance to review the consent?
I'm gonna make a motion that we pull the park and rec report out so we can have a discussion on that, stuff you had going on over there.
Sure. Okay, so we're gonna pull the park and rec out. Anything else? Okay, so.
Can
look-
you add anything?
Can we add anything?
Well, just like anything that wasn't already in there.
Yeah, you can amend the agenda to add something if there's
Well,
something that
just
needs to be
don't be-
ratified.
What's not in there?
Sorry?
Just information that became about since I wrote that.
Yeah. Oh,
You can-
okay, yeah.
You can add it
So a couple
to the
options.
item, to the
You can-
agenda, or we can put it under other business,
Okay.
new business.
No other business.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, so with, looking for a motion for the consent agenda with removal of item C, Parks and Recreation Report.
All motion we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Alright.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, attorney's report.
All right. This one I think is gonna be short and sweet here. The second submission of the amended restated stated service plan has been made. It's been submitted to the county. We should get red lines back prior to the next meeting. And I'm anticipating, so about 2/3 of the comments on our first submission were related to kind of how the district's financing structure works without debt authorization or imposition of the mill levy. So I'm a little curious to see kind of what additional comments we're gonna get back, but we have had, this second submission's done, they have 21 days, give or take, to get that back to us. So I am hopeful, we'll either have a discussion on the next meeting prior to probably the final submission of any sort of outstanding corrections, or we'll get the third one in right off the bat, and we can start moving to the planning commission.
Scroll back. Anything else?
What did we find out about the trash? service?
Good question. So this was a bit of a
That was a lot more complicated than it sounded.
Yeah, so the district does have the authority to provide trash services. It is tucked under its kind of authorizations to provide kind of waste services. However, the challenge you're gonna have is that the district, we went through it, and each filing has its own set of covenants. And so there's no way to require homeowners to use whatever trash service the district would want to contract for. Our recommendation on this was, because there are a couple HOAs within the district's boundaries, and while I can't see the HOA covenants, I imagine there are some restrictions as to trash services. It's very common. It would make more sense for the district to kind of take a outside role, see if the HOAs can work together to select a single trash service. And then the district can basically just act in an information capacity, send out notice to everybody and say, hey, these 3 HOAs have all selected such and such as your trash service. If you would like to, move forward with that, possibly a lower rate or something, please contact and maybe have a spokesperson for one of the HOAs. But that way the district isn't in the middle of negotiating a private contract, which I think feasibly would be a little difficult, only because there's no authority behind the district to how many signatures they're gonna get to sign up. There's no way to also bind those people to long-term contracts, because there's no covenant enforcement. So it seems easier to start with the HOAs who have at least a few hundred people that they can contractually obligate to start as the baseline for those negotiations. And then the district can send out that message to everybody else.
We could add the covenant in the amended service, or not covenant, but the enforcement authority, assuming that would get approved. The problem is, there's no covenant across the board on properties that have already been built. And the only way to record that covenant today would be, for example, the three of you, is we would have to get your approval to actually record that covenant against you.
Yeah, so
Most likely, you're gonna deny that. Even if it's for the benefit, your own benefit to do that, so that we can combine all of the homes together, and I have now a collective bargaining agreement that I can make with trash service. That's the problem we have. So we can do it in two capacities. One, what John already talked about with the HOAs, we can help band those together and do it. Or the other option is, I can still, from a collective bargaining perspective, say, hey, SoCo, Waste Management, blah, 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 we may have a large group that wants to go to, but I wouldn't be able to guarantee it. So the pricing in that kind of RFQ may not be as good, because it's not a guarantee that they're gonna get X amount of accounts.
Yeah, the covenant is not something, I don't think the district really wants to go down that road.
No.
In 2012, the district tried to get covenant enforcement authority, and it derailed the entire service plan.
We'll
And-
never get the community to vote on covenants.
They would have to record them against their own title of property, so, yeah, it's not feasible.
But I know I would like to explore us trying to, I don't know if we can get a trash company to agree to a lower rate, offer it to our community. If they want it, fine. How many customers they need to offer us that lower rate?
Yeah.
But I think it's, something worth exploring.
We can put it out in an RFQ.
Only because we're starting to see,
Yeah.
on top of our rates, the average community member right now is probably paying, I think they just raised them to $150, $160 for 3 months. So I think we can at least try to negotiate with the trash service on behalf of the community. It may work, it may not, but it never hurts to try. If we don't ask the question, we won't ever know for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and ultimately in that structure, I just recommend that the individual homeowners handle their own sign up and their own contracts, just so the district isn't the one holding a contractual obligation for homeowners
Right.
trying to get them to pay you.
So you're looking more a member of this metro district, we get a discount if we go with
Right.
X
Yes.
trash,
Yep.
trash service.
Yep.
At least that'd probably be the better route to go than a covenant,
Worth
cause
the
it's gonna be a
conversation.
futile effort, everybody's gonna say no.
Yeah, we'll never get covenant enforcement. It's just.
And we don't want it, to be honest
No.
with you. It's a slippery slope.
I'd be suspicious if it was even enforceable, even if the service plan authorized it.
It's not enforceable according to the court. If you look through the court documents from 2012,
Mm.
it is not enforceable because enforcement authority was never transferred from the developer to the district. So we would have
It's not in
to,
those covenants, yeah.
yeah,
That'd be
so it's there, but you have to sue your neighbor if you wanna enforce it.
Got it, okay. Yeah, if it was never conveyed to the district, then the
No.
district can't be an enforcing authority. To be fair, even if it could, covenants that haven't been enforced in 31 years, I'm not sure I would ever suggest you try today. And to be fair, they also, just kind of as an informational piece, I think in all cases that I'm aware of where the district does provide trash services, it was something that was available on day one. And usually there's some mechanism in the covenants or something kind of binding it. So it's something, homeowners come in, they already have this fee, they're aware of it, and the district then handles that contract and does all the legwork. It's a little hard just in Woodman's current position, kind of coming from the backside and retroactively create a trash service.
But I think the easiest way for us is just to get with the trash companies and say, hey, if we can get you this many customers, can our residents get a discount?
And you could offer them advertising. Like if you give us this discount, then we'll push it out in our bills twice a year or something.
Yeah, I'll put it out to RFQ and send it out to all the trash service companies that are in our area. Obviously, the district has services with one of those companies, so we already have a direct connection with at least one of them. But for transparency purposes, the RFQ would be evaluated without that, relationship already there. It's based off what's best for the entire district.
And this could be as simple as, an advertising campaign by the trash company. Hey, if you live within this general area, we're offering 20% off for new signups or something like that. And
Yeah.
have them handle the whole thing, all the marketing, everything.
Well,
Just
and
district's hands off.
that's something from my office perspective, if you need to start services, you're gonna contact us. So as part of that process, we send out welcome letters, and one of those things could be an advertisement saying, hey, even though this is not something that you pay directly to the district, if you want to sign up with XYZ company, they're gonna give you this discounted rate. All you need to do is this, whatever it is, right?
Is that something that as the district, we could provide, say you select contractor X, of like, hey, here is a address list
Yeah.
of who's there with,
Yeah.
property owner, I mean, it's all public
We
record.
can give them a quarterly address list based off of new, addresses that are coming online. That's not a problem. Again, we'll work that out as part of the RFQ.
Yeah, I mean, if we can find something where we can save $20 over 3 months.
Yeah. For sure, yeah. The issue, I'll tell you, is gonna be on the recycling side. So some of you may, and some of you may not know, but the state of Colorado has been changing the rules and laws around recycling. And one of the things is they are requiring trash providers to front the money for recycling and then get reimbursed. That is okay if you're waste management and you're $1 billion company, right? If you're a smaller mom and pop shop, that is not necessarily a feasible business strategy. So there are some other things that are going on in that area, but recycling is one of the bigger problems. So fortunate, unfortunate, when we look at the RFQ, we will not be able to select some of the smaller, more community-driven providers because they're not gonna be able to have recycling option, and we will need to have recycling as an option for the community.
What
Does that
if
make sense?
What if we based it simply on the trash collection and these options offer recycling, these options don't offer recycling?
You could, but let's say you went with ours and you went with XYZ company that we negotiated for trash service, but then you wanted recycling, you now gotta sign up for another provider. So if you're a homeowner, you now have 2 providers for your trash recycle. I think that defeats the purpose. So I just wanna be like open and honest, like, yes, I think we can make something work. It's just, I think unfortunately, we're limited to only a handful of providers that can do the trash and the recycling service.
Like in my neighborhood, we pay for trash, but if you want recycling, you pay for that on top of that.
Right.
The community doesn't, you do.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the way ours was, and I just got tired of watching the trash truck pick up both cans and drive off, so I was like, yeah, we're not paying for this anymore.
Yeah, I'll just take 2 cans of trash, please.
Yeah. It's also funny because you talk to other places and like, wait, you have to pay for recycling?
Yeah. So I can work on the RFQ and get that out to some providers, and then I should be able to give you guys an update at the next board meeting. I can't imagine it's gonna take more than 30 days to get responses back from people.
What's the foreclosure matters?
That was gonna be my question.
So, yeah, there's just a couple of foreclosure matters going on for properties within the boundaries of the district. I don't believe either one of them was in bankruptcy as well. But what happens during foreclosure is, it's a court process where eventually, if it goes the distance, the title of the property is transferred to somebody new. Carter and I have been in contact about one of the properties that was pretty delinquent on their service bills. And we were gonna send out a demand letter and record a lien. But the foreclosure, and then ultimately, if they didn't respond to the demand letter, didn't do anything on the lien, do our normal certification process at the end of the year, and then collect that with next year's property taxes. However, the twist on that one was it's already in foreclosure, and the foreclosure sale date is currently in June. So it would happen prior to kind of all of any additional work for it. So basically Carter and I just talked about it, and we'll let the foreclosure run its course, because what will happen then at the end is the property goes to a new owner. That entire prior owner's bill transfers to the new property owner. So in a foreclosure, the buyer takes it subject to the liens and things of that nature that are already on the property, and then it's their job as part of getting the discount, usually through a foreclosure purchase, to address those liens. So the district doesn't lose its position at all here. If nothing ends up happening, the current homeowner pays it off or whatever, and the foreclosure doesn't go through, then we'll just certify at the end of the year, and the district will get paid next year through property taxes. Or if foreclosure does go through, we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll send the invoice to the new owner of the property.
How much is it?
Thousands.
That's how
That
much
was a
they
couple
owe?
thousands.
Yeah.
How many thousands?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can tell you it's over $2,000. And it only gets higher
Every month,
because you
yeah.
have a monthly minimum regardless. So that's the thing is, the way this came up was, we were looking at accounts, because certification only happens once a year. It's at the end of the year, right? So there's a whole huge gap of time where we have these accounts that rack up balances. So I was talking to John we had this one in particular, we didn't know it was a foreclosure until John started looking into it with me, but it's what other options do we have? And that's when we talk about, well, we could have the attorney send a demand letter, and then if they don't respond to that, we can just file a lien. And it's just, I'm trying to think outside the box of how can we recoup our money that's not the standard, oh, I'm just gonna shut you off, or I'm gonna, do the county certification of your property taxes. That takes, both of those things are very labor intensive processes. Not to say filing a lien and having John do all that work is not intensive, but it is faster than waiting for those other things to run its course. And then once we got into it and John realized like, oh, this is foreclosure, this is probably gonna go the distance, then it's just, okay, we'll wait until it gets bought and then we'll get paid at closing.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this as well is, none of this, really hurts the district or makes its position worse than it is currently. Standard policy is districts would just wait till the end of the year and get paid between like April, October of next year on this account. So we were thinking, send a demand letter now. The homeowner pays any sort of costs for that additional work anyway. So whatever collection work is done, including certifications, the cost of that is actually added to the homeowner's ledger. So the district's not out of pocket for any of that work. But in this case, it looks like the foreclosure will probably go the distance, and we'll just address it in June.
Do we need to make any disclosures to the management or the mortgage company that this is outstanding?
So, no, it's kind of an interesting headache that happens here. So, as a government entity, and this is true of municipalities as well, we get a statutory lien on the property the second a delinquent balance is owed to us. Now, we know that balance is owed. But it really only exists on our ledgers. No one else, no title companies, no one else has any idea that this exists unless they ask. So sometimes if I thought this was gonna be particularly problematic, we'd actually record a physical lien at that point and allow a title company to discover it. I don't think that's gonna be an issue here. I've already been in contact with the foreclosing attorney's firm, and basically they've added the district to the notices. So it doesn't sound like this property is gonna end up being like purchased by the bank. It's gonna be purchased by a third party. So the bank will usually clear the liens so they can resell. In this case, new buyer's just gonna take it subject to the liens, and they'll address once they actually own the property.
There's a good question, because we come across this all the time. When you sell your house, typically there's title involved, right? And the title company may or may not reach out to us. And so if they don't reach out to us, then it's a whole process of the new buyer is now calling in saying, oh, I bought this house. And we're like, when did you buy it? Because no one's told us. And so then it starts this whole process of, well, there's a balance on this account. Technically, you're the owner. The balance stays with the property, not with like someone's social security number, right? This is not your power bill, right? This is something completely different. And so we have to educate people on that. And it is a problem. And it's something that John and I have talked about, especially with our wastewater only clients and customers, that happens more so with them than it does with Woodman Hills proper. Is do we need to file a document on those property titles on an annual basis, so that title, when they do their research, it gets flagged that, hey, you also need to talk to Woodman Hills.
So those delinquent utility bills stay with the property even
Correct.
when it's not being foreclosed on? Just when it's a regular purchase?
Yes.
Huh.
Correct, yeah, the way it's described in statute is it exists in perpetuity as a mechanic's lien against the property. So the district's lien supersedes the mortgage, it supersedes basically everything except for other government liens of specific types. But yeah, so if property sells, it just stays with the property. This is different than like, if you owe your HOA money, that's actually a private contract, so it stays with you, the person, as opposed to the property itself. Yeah, but anyway, so we'll wrap that one up here, probably in June or July, whenever the sale occurs, or if it doesn't occur, we can then kind of talk about a demand letter or something along those lines. Were there any others on here? I'm happy to touch base on anything else. A few of these we'll circle back on in the executive session.
Good. Alright. Update wastewater storage facility project.
Yeah.
So I was hoping to have something tonight, however, Matrix Engineering kind of forgot about, we need to get power to the building, and they recorded the plans. So, all the people showed up to the mandatory pre-bid meeting, like, where'd the power come from? And right after that, the guy that was supposed to do the power was on vacation, so I think originally they wanted to extend the deadline to bid, but John pointed out we can't do that, so, Wednesday, we reposted, put new dates on, put a new mandatory pre-bid. We still don't have the plans, but hopefully by then, or soon after, we can do an addendum to add them to it. So it's the only last missing part of it, but.
Yeah, basically because this is a project over $120,000 as a government entity, we have to bid it publicly. And we published our initial notice of invitation to bid, and didn't have all the information in time for the actual bid deadline. So we published a new invitation to bid this last week and extended that out 3 weeks. So the goal is to essentially be in the same place just 1 month forward. So hopefully next month, we'll have basically the ability to review a couple bids and award the bid for the
I think the
storage.
bid opening's on the 17th, we'll compile all the information and then have it at the base award meeting.
Alright.
Because you pulled out the Parks and Rec report, do you wanna do that before executive
Yes.
session, or do you wanna do it after?
Let's knock it out before.
I've never been part of this portion. Am I supposed to say the scenario, or what?
Yeah,
Okay. So.
yeah. I mean, just as you described it in the email.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I can pull up the email thread if that's helpful.
Yeah, that's great, yeah. So, for context, last week through spring break, we've had a fair amount of potential theft and theft going on with youth within the rec center. One in which, some 12 and unders went into the game room, which is always open. Essentially, based on the video evidence, it's pretty clear it was kind of a premeditated theft. They walked in, unzipped their backpacks, went straight to our cabinets, and they started dumping everything into their backpacks. So they were caught on camera at the front desk. Our front desk staff addressed them. She did touch the backpack and unzipped it. She had the kid turn around when they denied that they took anything. Then you see her pointing at the sink and essentially say, put the stuff back, and they went and they put everything back. So our initial thought was to, due to this, suspend the family and the host, because there were 4 of them, for 6 months, because it broke our policies and procedures. And obviously we don't wanna tolerate theft. And then they were also in the locker rooms, and I was afraid, crap, did they get in people's bags and that type of stuff as well. But then once we notified the homeowner, it kind of comes out that the individuals are his nieces, and they're not necessarily part of his direct family. Even though the oldest one signed in as somebody within his family, stating that she was somebody else. And he's saying, since it wasn't his family, his account shouldn't be suspended. That's kind of it in a nutshell. So with that, right now, we're still sticking to the 6-month suspension, but it also opens up the fact of we're technically punishing people that weren't involved in what took place, even though it's associated
But
with
they
their
also
account.
violated policy by allowing people that don't reside with
Correct.
them on their account.
Correct, yep,
So,
Ultimately, you know, they are responsible for
right.
family members, visitors, and people that enter on their account. You
Yeah.
are. But what's our policy? I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware and that we are following our policy to a T.
Yeah, and the kicker is we don't have like set suspension like or durations. You know, everything's at our discretion, and that's what it says in our agreement that all the users or members sign. Which I guess like opens up another question: is do we need to get to first offense? Is it a month or 3 months or 6 months? Or it's kind of nice having that discretion, but then you get into the fact of, is the punishment too harsh or is it too lenient? To add into this story, the same girls came back on the weekend and said they lost their cell phone, so the staff allowed them to go back into the game room, and they came back out and started cussing and verbally assaulting our front desk staff for them being suspended. So,
I don't see a problem with the not having, or you guys having flexibility in that, but what is the grievance process for the family to appeal or whatever?
Within our document, it just says at director's discretion.
that would be more where I would say we probably need to have something. If we're gonna leave the punishment side more of the director's discretion, then we need to probably be a little bit more direct on the grievance process.
Water, wastewater's got set policies for grievances.
even finance, we have set grievances policies, so I think we could just mimic some of
Yeah.
what we do in the rules and regs.
Yeah, make it appealable to the full board if they wanna come, if they wanna
Yeah.
come in person during one of these meetings and talk to you about it. Certainly.
Are the
Is-
4 girls gonna come in?
Look, I mean, I don't think we're gonna ask, truthfully, I don't think we're gonna
I
ask
don't think
anything
their
of the
parents
minors.
should.
I mean, I think this is one
It
hundred
would
percent.
be the account holder that would need to come in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Appeal it, not
Yeah.
the, you know, cause they're ultimately responsible
I
for
mean,
their accounts.
So until you're 18, you can't agree to a contract,
Right.
so they're not signing in a contractual way.
Do they
these
know that the
policies.
girls came back in and then verbally assaulted your staff?
They don't know that.
I would absolutely tell them that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's still 6 months right now?
Do we have any potential for, I don't wanna say recoup of damages since they took that back, but if we're gonna add locks to these cabinets, can we, this is now a result of these individuals' action, you will be charged for the cost of this install.
I probably wouldn't,
Not what
because
it
it's not,
costs.
that's not really the harm they cause.
Okay.
You know, we're
It's
essentially.
not the damage, they
Yeah, I
open
mean,
a
if they
cabinet,
physically
dump the stuff
damaged
out.
property, we can
Yeah.
absolutely ask for
Yeah.
that. In this case, you know, we're changing our behaviors because of the risk of future damage,
Curious,
It's a good question.
make it a little bit more
Right.
sticking of, hey, not only can you not come for 6 months, but it's gonna cost you $500.
Got plenty of trash they can pick up.
A lot of trash. Maybe they can clean on that too.
If you'd like to volunteer and pick up trash.
Yeah.
I think it's voluntold to pick it up. I don't think they're gonna volunteer.
Dedication.
Yeah.
Them or the
But-
parents. Them or the parents probably wouldn't
I
volunteer.
mean, that was really the only thing I wanted,
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page as
Yeah.
far as moving forward with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we do need to add that into the user agreement though,
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
would make sense.
Yeah.
And then it just allows, it outlines it not only for residents, but for staff, right? So that it's, you send in your email, however way you handle this one, the next one that happens like this has to be filed the same way. So in order to ensure consistency, we just put it into the grievance policy is this, right? You're kind of the first line, and if they don't like what you have to say, then they can come and present their case in front of the full board. cause that's how it is for the rest of us.
The most amazing thing about the whole story was the guy never even apologized. All he cared about was getting his access back, and I'm like, I can at least say, sorry, or my nieces tried to steal from you, but it was.
And then verbally assaulted your staff?
Yep, exactly, so.
Well, we do have something in there about, I'm not sure, being respectful or anything in there, so.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, we could almost do a second round.
Yeah.
And then I would make sure when you notify them of the suspension that, you're pretty direct with these are the reasons, these are the policies that they violated, or that, make it pretty detailed.
Can I see the video?
Not in public.
Yeah. It's technically a public document, but I don't think it's worth showing a bunch of 12-year-olds on a YouTube clip.
Gotcha. It's pretty bold.
Yeah, then we also had a second theft, and this one wasn't on video, but during a birthday party, kids, again, utilizing the game room now, we're running into the other room, taking stuff out of the party room and running into the game room back and forth, taking things. But on that one, the actual party host was aware after the renters complained, but our cameras are out in that room, so we couldn't actually do anything as far as disciplinary, but we did notify the parents. So,
Are we getting the cameras fixed?
yeah. Hopefully, cameras across all the buildings and parks.
Have there always been thefts like this? It's kinda like the first time.
This is the first time I've heard anything in the
My
5
knowledge
years
is
that
the
I've been
first.
around, have you ever heard anything before?
No, but
No. I don't know if it's just
Maybe it's
a
not to that
uptick,
extent.
or
Weird, yeah.
just because
Or
we're
they
getting
said that
bigger
part.
and
Maybe?
we're getting more and more families into the community, but it's definitely become a bigger problem. I think youth as a whole has become a bigger problem for us. I was gonna say, do you wanna say anything about the bikes
Yeah.
situation?
I guess there was another theft 3 weeks ago, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
With a kid's bike getting stolen,
Oh,
from the parking lot, and our cameras aren't good enough to actually see what the guy looked like, so that's why we're doing all our another reason why we're doing our cameras now. And that was another premeditated one, cause the person, we have him walking from the street to the bike rack, he sits down, cause there's a car in front of the rec center, he waits for the car to pull out, then he hops on the bike and takes off. So,
Grown man on a kid's bike?
he was a teen, so I'm assuming he is
huh.
larger, so.
I was also referring to the
The
motorized bikes,
Yeah.
like that situation, if you wanted me to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and then the other thing that we've been dealing with
We're
is.
full of good news tonight.
Yeah. On both fields, Balkan and Horseshoe, motorized e-bikes are ruining both surfaces. So yesterday or 2 days ago,
2 days ago.
I got a call from a patron that called and said, hey, there's 5 to 10 kids on Belkin Park racing their bikes on the turf. So by the time I got over there, I got out of my car, they saw me, and they know they're not supposed to, they saw us scattered, so. And the same thing where we're trying to grow grass on Horseshoe, the same thing is happening, and we're getting dirt bike tracks in our new field that we're trying to grow to be able to use and everything else. So for those of you on Facebook, Stephanie did post a thing requesting the community further support and reporting it. Again, it's gonna come down to the parents regulating it and knowing where their kids are and what they're doing, which probably isn't gonna happen. And then, in the end, if the damage at Belkin, especially if they tear up the seams of the field, we will have to look at probably putting a fence around the field and have it for programmatic use only in rentals.
I know Sheriff's Office has been cracking down on the e-bikes with the underage. I've watched 4 of them get pulled over, and about 5 to 10 minutes later, the kids are walking down the street.
Yeah.
The deputy's still there with the bike, so.
I've seen several of them, I mean.
Yeah, they're taking them.
My son was telling me that he's had kids at school that have had their e-bikes seized out here by one of the deputies.
It's been a big problem for metro districts across the board, trying to kind of regulate their parks and rec space and from not getting torn up, because most of the time it's a kid on an e-bike and they're gone the second, you can see them, there's no plates on them, unless you can identify.
Well, and the
them.
state's supposed to be adding something to DOR statutes about e-bikes.
We're seeing,
to regulate them.
yeah, we're just seeing some legislation, I think the city of Aurora maybe, just passed regulation that essentially if your kid is caught using an e-bike improperly, the adult gets the fine. So, and that's the way they were addressing it. I think that's city of Aurora. But, so I think it's probably just legislation's a little behind the curve, but I imagine see probably more, yes.
Well, I mean, that begs the question, do we have the board approve a fine in our fee schedule every year related to this type of violation?
So you could definitely do it as a fine. You could also do, if you were able to identify the child and the property owner, they would be responsible for the damages caused. So you could go after them through like, normal civil means as well. There are a couple options there. I guess, do we think that's gonna be happening here, kind of?
I mean, at the end of the day, I think what Chris and I have talked about is the last thing that we wanna do is take a community asset like the two parks and make them more like, lack of a better term, prisons, and put big fences around them and lock them down so that the only time you can use them is for events or if you purchase a permit. That's the last thing that we want to do, because we built these things for the community to enjoy. But if the community is not going to do it respectfully, then we have no other recourse but to limit the usage. So my thing is, if we can put in fines, would that help us to prolong maybe the inevitable of having to put these fences up? Now, we have a fence around Horseshoe. That's not necessarily stopping them, right? It's just a deterrent. To make it truly a preventable thing, you're gonna have to put 8-foot fences, razor wire, and control.
Who's
walls.
gonna stop them and identify them?
That's where I was gonna go, is are we gonna spend time doing all this
So-
and we can't ID them?
The new camera system that Chris and I are looking at has all those capabilities. Has facial recognition built into it. We'll have the ability to get people's faces. We'll be able to read license plates, the whole 9 yards.
I would say once.
There will be some complications with the facial recognition and the license plate readers.
Just saying we
By the
can.
new state statutes.
Not saying we will, just saying we can.
I don't have a database of like 12-year-olds either.
What is that?
I think where we could get that though is if they're doing that
Some
stuff and
cases,
it recognizes
license plate
they're coming
readers
into one of the
considered a
buildings.
search.
Yeah, I mean, you can identify what home they go back to, that kind of solves it.
The other thing that we've talked about is with my staff is if we were to put a fence around, say Belkin, do we have it so it's key fob access, so it's residents only that can scan in? And then we'd obviously know who would be using it, but obviously they'll still be able to hold the gate open for their friends.
Yeah, and I mean,
So,
I don't know. I would
Yeah.
prefer to not go that route.
agreed.
I mean, they're getting used. I mean,
Packed.
kids have been out, I've been out at Falcon a couple nights this week with picking up my kids have been over there playing.
Yeah.
And those places are getting used.
Yes.
The other option too is, just kind of an awareness campaign. I mean, fees go up every year, if there's damages being caused in these parks, you can send out a notice with the next Parks and Rec fee increase. Just
I mean,
be
you have your newsletter now, let's send it out in there.
Yeah.
Let's just give notice that, hey, we're gonna have to start looking at alternatives if the community can't police their own stuff.
Put the pictures in it.
I mean, ultimately, yeah.
Put the pictures in it.
I would put pictures of
other
the
families will
e-bikes
come
in
out,
there.
it's like, that's Jimmy down the street.
They'll
Your
know.
kid wrecks the park, we're coming after you.
I don't recommend putting pictures of kids in the newsletter for identification purposes. I recognize they were photographed in public property, and that's all well and good.
I mean, we'll make it like
As a-
crime
From an
stop.
optics standpoint, I don't recommend it.
Well, or photos of the damage.
Yeah, photos of the damage, certainly, absolutely.
Photos of damage.
But it's one where you can make the
Buffer
community fully aware,
reward.
like, look, this costs you money because we then all have to pay to repair this. So if you know who's causing this, just let us know, like, we'll follow up
That's a
with it.
good idea. I like that.
But yeah, please don't send out pictures of people's
That's
children.
the one, that's the one thing we know for sure is people don't wanna pay more money.
Right.
And so they will turn on each other if it comes to paying more money.
Yeah.
Can't have a wall right inside the first office. Do you know this child?
$100 reward.
They can pay for it or you can pay for it.
Wow.
What's the vandalism? What are they doing?
A lot of mail parks are showing up on a lot of concrete, sidewalks, signs, everything. Not gang signs at least, unless that's a new gang symbol, but
So like spray paint or?
spray paint and marker and everything else, yeah. And then we've also been, whether it's intentional or not, like the wood pavilion outside RCE, all the surrounding, they have the pillars and they have the little ledges around the pillars. Probably 5 of those are broken off now. So I don't know if people are trying to stand on them or what, but, so it's just smaller things, but it just adds up over time. And then the BMX course has been getting pummeled with 4x8 sheets of plywood and then digging their own trenches to hop and stuff like that. So that's been a big headache the last month.
Are these, so going back a little bit, part of this, are these cameras gonna be monitored or is it just recording and if there's an incident, you go back and look at them?
Yeah.
Okay.
It does alert you though. So like if I want to put in an alert, I can get an email or a notification to the front desk that something's going on. So.
You can also flag suspicious activity, and that individual can then be tracked throughout the life cycle of where the cameras are. So you can see in one clip, instead of having to go like thumbnail to thumbnail, it'll pull it all the footage together for you and show you the entire thing. So it's meant also for law enforcement, so we can give that whole clip to law enforcement and say, here you go, here's everything.
So I would say let's do public awareness first, and then we can look at fines or the possibility of iron security.
We have gone down that route before. Marcus, I don't know if he talked to you about it at all, but he talked about park rangers, and he went through the kind of the financial aspects of it, and it's extremely expensive to have 24/7 security.
Quick comment on that. Security is actually a service plan authorization. So if we do want that, I'll need to know before around the next meeting or so, just to, if nothing else, you don't have to use it, but we would want that security authorization for, and that was the question actually the county asked me was, does the board want security for us? And I told them it's never been policed previously. So we weren't looking to change our current service plan because it wasn't provided originally. We can certainly add it. We're not at a final submission this time. So if you like just at least the authorization to do it, should you want to, we can put it in there.
I mean, I would put it in there only because I think it's possible. I know we looked at it doing it just as Woodman Hills, but with the other districts around here taking on vandalism and things, it may be a collaborative effort to where we could actually get something, a cheaper deal if everybody was involved.
Okay.
I mean, cause like you said, we don't have to use it if it's there, but it's there if we want to use it.
Correct.
And then the only other thing that's really been going on a lot is illegal dumping. So like over at like the parking lot of Horseshoe Park, someone looks like they backed their pickup truck and pushed all their tires out of their truck and then took off and things like that. So it's ridiculous.
I mean, any metals that we can make money on?
I thought about that actually.
Probably no copper.
I mean,
Good.
Need that new sheriff's substation to get done.
Right?
Piece by piece.
Alright, number 10, John, executive.
Perfect. We get the recorder up
Oh,
here.
yeah, sorry.
No, that was. That's on me. All right, is there a motion to enter executive session for determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiation under CRS 246402-4E, namely Waterbury inclusion and water services connection with Falcon, I think with Falcon Hills is Falcon Highlands Metropolitan District.
I'll make the motion.
One second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous motion carries.
motion. Item 11, items unfinished from previous meeting.
The paintbrush account, the escrow account, do we know the status of that?
I don't know, let me get back to you on that one. I'll write that one down again.
Anything else? I wasn't here last meeting, so I don't know.
You do.
Okay. Follow up on older items.
Wally, did you have something in this area?
I think it was the next
Okay.
one.
Oh,
Okay. 13, other business.
That's me. So, a couple things happened, since I wrote my report on there. Waterbury lift station got approved by CDPHE on Tuesday, so they're now on the clock. Conversely, the Grandview lift station, their site application was approved, expires at the end of next month. So, they've got about 30 days to find someone to buy it, make an extension, do something, or Grandview lift station goes away. Gotta be restarted if something else comes along, so. Doesn't hurt my feelings, it's just knowledge. Then, this just came today, so on our Bryan property, we agreed to let the tall grass, whatever they're called, pipeline people put an easement on there. So they just dropped it off today, that they need another 0.15 acres of temporary easement, so wherever it hits the property, cuts to south, it goes to the west and needs to cut down. They just need a little bit more room, they're too close to the fence for a laydown area, for digging. So, that's all this was, is a First Amendment easement agreement, and I wanna compensate us $500 for that extra temporary easement on there. It doesn't affect the permanent easement, it's just for construction. So if you guys want a copy, so they're gonna send a PDF copy tomorrow, so if you guys want, you could approve it pending the legal review, because John hasn't had a chance to look at it yet.
yeah, I just saw it tonight for the first time. If it's just a change for the additional easement for the additional cost, I'm not gonna have any concerns on it, but I'll request to review it first. Or we can hold it to the next meeting for kind of full review and approval, because it was last minute for this meeting.
Yes, I just came this afternoon sometime, so.
Yeah.
Pending legal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any showstoppers.
No, looking at what they're proposing, it's just, they just need a couple more feet for the
Drop
soil, so.
I guess we're requesting that a motion to approve subject to final legal review.
No motion we approve, subject to final legal review.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I gotta wait for
There's a
it.
little
Any
bit of a
opposed?
So
Alright,
is
hearing
John.
none.
As long as John approves it here,
And then you're
get
good
it
with
thumbs
set
up,
of
we'll get a hold of someone to come in and
Yeah, just let me know.
maybe some order items signed and.
Anything else for the greater good? No?
I have some
Cool.
other business.
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
I already crossed it off.
Item
So-
14, I motion.
So I have enlisted into the U.S. Army Reserves.
Hey.
And so I'm requesting that my absence for the next 5 months be excused. I will return in October after my training. That's it. That's all I have.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Just
big
sworn
move.
in, like 2 weeks ago. This has been like years in the making, so I'm excited and terrified. Mostly excited. but also
Iran, here you
terrified.
come.
5 months,
Fingers crossed that everything gets handled before I graduate. Oh my god.
So what does this mean for your day job?
I'm going on medical leave of absence, so my job's federally protected. So all 3 of my jobs are federally protected. So, yeah, that's it.
So I guess the question would be, just for clarification, does fall under the federal leave, military leave?
That's a good question. I'd have to take a look.
So the question,
Well,
I guess my
how about
question
this?
is,
Is-
do we have to
I-
excuse it since it's
I
federal?
can certainly dive in and research it. However, if the board would like to just consider this an excused approval, we can save the research money and, it's up to you.
I
You
will
tell me.
consider it excused.
Take it.
Being a prior service member.
I feel like it would be anti-American, especially since you do the
Oh.
pledge of
Oh.
allegiance. You did, excuse 2 more absences, because technically I get 3.
I was
I
just
just
going
need
down the route of,
2
do we
more.
have to even do it, but
I
yeah,
just need 2
no,
more.
that's fine.
I just need 5.
I second.
5
Well,
months.
So just for
I
clarification, on the
will
board,
encourage everybody to enlist at some point or another.
we'll still excuse each meeting if that's the board's
Oh,
direction.
okay.
So we'll just do it there and they'll.
Perfect.
They don't want my 52-year-old fat ass in there.
They won't, they won't
They
take
just
me.
raised the age limit, they're gonna get
I
there.
know,
eventually.
42?
So that's
Now it's
28.
40. No,
You're like,
I'm only
you're
32.
53 and you're like,
No,
I'm
now
in.
it's like 41. I'm like, God.
I still don't meet it.
Sorry, I did my time. So going back, can't unring that bell now.
Okay, any other business?
That's it. That's the only news I have. Sorry, guys.
Item 14, motion for adjourn booking.
I will motion we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and
Aye.
a second. All in favor?
Bye.
Yay. All right, we're adjourned.